So I have the honor of working with people and seeing their energy shift. And I've been working with people like this for a lot of years prior to being a therapist, mediator, um, coach, group leader, all of those things that are more psychologically based. I was a massage therapist and I was a personal trainer. So I really was into mind body matters and just trying to help people like get into their bodies, understand their bodies, feel their bodies. And I remember just like touching people, like giving them a massage. It was kind of a fast way into being a counselor because people would just tell me everything about themselves. I always heard, I've never really told anyone this before, um, which I've since heard a lot of, and I am honored to be in those positions of hearing the things that people never tell anybody, because I think it's important to tell people things that are hard or to find the people that you can uh, express yourself to. I think it's important. I think it's the way you get to know yourself. And I also think it's the way that you get to go back to a baseline, right? You get to let things off your chest and go back to a baseline. So to sort things out when you're talking. The people that sort things out when they're talking are like, I call them external processors. I'm actually one as well. So there's people that really have to think a lot about what's happening and put it together. And there's other folks that just like talk and talk and talk and sort of feel better. Um, I remember this from the early days when I started to always have an exercise partner. And during those workouts, whether it was running or biking or lifting weights or whatever it was, there would be so much talking during that time that at the end I'd be like, oh, I not only worked out my body, but I got everything else out in my mind and figured all that stuff out too. So it's talking is important, expressing yourself is important. But what I wanted to say in this video was this whole idea about baseline. So what is being healthy to you in terms of a relationship? What feels healthy to you and what feels unhealthy? So some markers I just want you to be aware of what is unhealthy is if you don't feel like you get to be yourself, and if you feel like you're upset a lot, that you're always having to like, wait a second, I don't think I agreed to that. Setting boundaries, reminding people of your personal space, feeling like you can't really, for me, I always feel like I can't really be myself, but I also can't be productive because being, productive and um, being able to have a space where I feel like I can function really well in is important to me. So I really examine like the energies that come into my world and what might throw me off. And I wonder if you do too, if you have folks that you're like feeling, oh, I could just be around them forever. It's just not any energy. It doesn't take me any energy or effort to be around that person. And some people that you're like, oh, I'm always like thinking about what's going on, what they're saying, what they mean. Um, Feeling like I really need to explain myself a lot, or I feel really tired after I see them. That's something to notice the way you feel around people in your body. And the goal is, if you're in a healthy relationship, that you always feel pretty okay. You don't feel bad. You might have moments where you're like, oh, I got to work that out. But that feeling of baseline, like I have a baseline, I can stay in that baseline and function is critical, right? But I think that also bleeds into the idea of how do you work on having a baseline and filling yourself and feeding yourself and sort of mind, body, spirit balance. Because you have to work on it too. It just doesn't come externally. Like, I'll hang out with people and feel better about myself. No, actually, hang out with yourself and feel better about yourself, and then notice the impact of other people's energy on you. That's how you want to work it out in that direction. So what's your baseline? What's your healthy baseline? And take a note of it. Like, when do you feel off base? When do you have to work on like maybe getting more sleep, quiet time, alone time, productive time, downtime? Think about that. Where is the places where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm in a super great place today, on all cylinders, functioning well, not stressed out. It's really good to notice that, Where are you today, by the way? Where are you today? Are you um, holding on to your baseline? Are you way away from it? Just take note of that. Take note. And if that was helpful, subscribe below. If you have any suggestions for me, let me know. And I'll be back more to talk to you about other concepts, psychological concepts that I think can be helpful and inspiring.